All right, hey, welcome to Monday Move, where we enhance our asana. This week will be Parsvakonasana or side angle. This is a great pose to follow Warrior Two because it has similar alignments, just the upper body is shifted a little bit. So if you haven't watched my Warrior Two Monday Move from last week, please go watch that because I will go over all the alignments for the legs in that one, and we'll continue with more of the upper body alignments today. So I'm going to go hop on my mat and we'll get started. So one of the main things that I see in side angle is people look at these pictures in magazines or on Instagram and they see that the person's hand, is planted on, in front or in back of the foot on the floor, and then they think that's how they should be doing the pose. Well, what I want you to do first is instead of, I want you to let go of the phrase, I should look like this, and I want you to use the phrase, how does this feel in my body? So instead of should, use feel. Because the floor is never the goal, like my first yoga teacher said, and that phrase has stuck with me ever since the first time she told me that. Because a lot of times what I see is the hips and my students may not be open enough, so they're reaching for the floor, but they're rounded through their spine, the shoulders are collapsed on top of each other, and then they're trying to open up this way, and that just doesn't look quite like the picture, right? So the key here is to not force your body into what a picture looks like. And the key is to listen to what your body feels like and let the ego go and just work with where you're at in the moment. So if we'll come into Warrior Two legs, checking the alignment of the front leg, checking the alignment of the back leg. And for the first option, probably for newer students, students with some range of motion limitations, stuff like that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our forearm and we're just going to tilt our torso. So we're not rotating our shoulders towards our front leg. We're keeping our shoulders in line with our legs. We're tilting towards our bent knee and then placing our forearm on our thigh. The top hand reaches over our head for the nice long side angle, right? So one key thing to remember is to not just dump into your shoulder. We want to keep space between our shoulder and our jawline. So keep the shoulder strong. Don't collapse your weight onto the shoulder. And there is a rotation through the rib cage. So again, remember, shoulders are facing forward. They're not rotating towards your front leg. Okay, so this is option one. Okay. Option two, once you start getting into yoga and your hips open up a little bit, your stance can get a little bit wider, is you can use a block, and instead of using your thigh as an anchor point, you use the block as an anchor point. So instead of the forearm, your hand comes onto the block, pressing down into the block, shoulder away from your ear, and now the top arm comes up overhead. The one thing is, as the hand gets closer to the ground, your stance needs to get wider and your hips need to get lower to the ground so you don't get the crunched over, uncomfortable look. You need the sits bones to lower so you can keep the chest open and keep the shoulders stacked on top of each other. Okay, so going back to option two is the block. And remember that there's three heights to the block. There's the tall height, middle height, and then low height. So you can progress. Once you're comfortable here, then you can use the tall height. You can go to the middle height. Remember, the hips are going to sink a little bit lower each time. And then the lowest height. Again, watch my hips, they sink, but my shoulders are staying stacked. And then possibly even the floor. One other thing is, don't try and just sink your weight into the hips to drop the hips. We want strength in through the legs, so I'm constantly pressing down through the floor to keep my hips buoyant while I'm working my upper body. So I'm not just dropping my weight into my hips, I'm lifting my hips by pressing down into my foundation. And then you can come up. So one more time on the other side just to refresh. Warrior two legs. Again, first option, forearm to thigh. Shoulders stay facing forward, shoulders in line with the line of your legs. Arm up overhead. Option two is to find the block. I should have brought my block with me. I'll just go with the middle height. Again, got to spread your feet. You got to lower your hips, but keep pressing down through your feet. And then again, finally, the floor. If you ever get there, some people may not, the floor may never be a part of their practice, and that's okay. And that's one of the things about advancing into yoga practice is the acceptance of some poses may come easy and some poses may never come, and letting those poses go. So as always, if you ever have any questions or comments or concerns, any aches and pains that come about in this pose, feel free to use the comment section, reach out to me. My website is katieshleepwellness.com, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those social media platforms. All right, well, enjoy side angle. Let me know how it goes, and next week we'll continue with this standing pose few weeks here, going into Trikonasana or triangle next week. So have a great week. I will see you on Monday. Namaste.